What's up, traveler? I just beat Eclipsium here on YouTube where I stream whatever it is I'm playing. Eclipsium describes itself as a first-person horror game where you play as the desperate wanderer in search of her. His path leads through hellish tombs, cathedrals of flesh, and even through space, immolating himself and sacrificing anything to achieve his goal. It's a journey from one end of the map to the other through a forest, meatpacking facility, hospital, space, and other non-euclidian places. Eclipsium was developed by Housefire Games, an indie game studio of about 6 people based in Gothenburg, Sweden. Eclipsium would then be published by Critical Reflex and was released on September 19, 2026, only on Steam. And quick side note, I really hope this gets ported to everything it can, because I personally think that Eclipsium was really captivating. Unless you're listening in on this only, let's talk about the first thing you probably noticed with just a little bit of gameplay shown so far. That is the art of Eclipsium. The art of Eclipsium is so strong and well executed that it only took me about 10 seconds of watching the first trailer to know that I wanted to play this game. I really enjoy the pixelated art style because in a world of games that are always looking very clean and photorealistic, many games, often in my mind, just kind of blend together and my brain doesn't really take a second to appreciate and interpret what it is I'm looking at. For example, I'm just going to throw up a bunch of random pictures of different interior spaces in games that are more so high fidelity focused, and I hope that this kind of paints the picture that they all look very similar in style and fidelity. And if your brain's anything like mine, chances are that it just turns off right when it starts to see these same looking places. Now let's try to compare some of those screenshots to just some random ones from Eclipsium. As I hope these screenshots from Eclipsium demonstrate, in Eclipsium you really only have a best guess as to what everything you're looking at is, and more examination is needed to fully just realize where exactly you are, what it is you're looking at. I made sure to note this because throughout my playthrough, I noticed maybe about halfway, 3/4 of the way through the game, there was never a point where I was feeling distracted. I wanted to get pulled away from the game or I thought I wasn't being engaged. The entire time the pixelated art style really just kept nudging my brain, making me think, what am I looking at? What am I coming across? And I'm not really sure exactly what I'm trying to say, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think it's really important and cool when a game's art style really ties into the storytelling, the world building, and the gameplay of the game. So yeah, Eclipsium really knocks us out of the park. One more thing before we move on and talk about the puzzles and the gameplay of Eclipsium. Quick shout out to the settings menu in Eclipsium, specifically the pixelation amount option. I think it's really cool that there's a setting in there called intended, because that way, while still offering more customability for different preferences and systems, you also have the original way that the developer kind of just intended the game to be played and how it's meant to be experienced, and I think that's really cool and important in video games. So, don't really know how to wrap that thought up, but I just wanted to throw that in there, and I really like that. I would love for more games to come with that setting, an intended one. But now, let's talk about the puzzles. In Eclipsium, apart from walking around, really the only sort of gameplay that there is to the game are the puzzles, and without spoiling too much about them, I just want to take a second to really praise them for their creativity and just kind of list out a couple of examples. You want a fun fetch some keys puzzle? Eclipsium got it. You want to use picture frames to jump between different dimensions and places type of puzzle? You got it. You want a puzzle where your vision is mirrored or something and it looks like Hyper Demon more than it does a game? Eclipsium's got it. And those are just a couple examples. Overall, I really thought that every puzzle in the game was extremely well designed. They had tons of different light bulb going off, aha moments, and at no point did I ever think that a puzzle or idea really overstayed its welcome. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that in the world of Eclipsium, everything is so nonsensical, where places, physics, and objects can kind of take on any meaning or form. Puzzle solving feels like a perfect blend of a caveman trying things till it works and genuine light bulb going off moments. But neither felt out of place in the world of Eclipsium, and that's what I think makes the game so cool. Now, let's wrap this video up and talk about the story real quick and we'll get you out of here. What I like so much about Eclipsium was the story, or in this case the lack thereof. Eclipsium decides to forego any kind of just normal linear storytelling devices, I feel, and it just kind of drops a player into something that is truly a one-of-a-kind experience. And that's what I think is so cool about this game. It's really up to the player to kind of decide what the story is, what's going on, what's real, what's not, and what everything means. And I really think it's a game you should check out. I think it's an amazing experience and one that is only possible through video games, because I don't understand how you would translate the experience of playing Eclipsium to any other medium, whether that be a book adaptation, a movie adaptation, a TV show adaptation, anything. I just don't think that the experience would translate as well. So yeah, that's all I got to say about Eclipsium. Thank you so much for watching if you stuck around to the end. And if you'd like to watch my playthrough of the game, the link should be somewhere on screen, or if not, it'll be linked down below in the description. Take it easy.